Why is it that some leaders spend their lives trying to help their people, while others seem content to rob and starve them? We usually assume it comes down to character, that the world is a simple map of good people and bad people. The 2011 Egyptian revolution looked like the ultimate test of that idea. Millions of people filled the streets, risking everything to demand the removal of a dictator who had held power for 30 years. But when Hosni Mubarak finally resigned, the protesters didn't get the control they expected. Power shifted immediately to the military elite, a group that had been part of the regime all along. They didn't change the system, they simply swapped out the person at the top to protect their own status. Egypt suggests that the behavior of a government isn't just about the person in charge. It's a sign that leaders are following a set of hidden rules built into power itself, rules that prioritize survival over the public good. These rules are the core of what political scientists call Selectorate theory. It starts with a simple reality. No leader rules alone. A king cannot collect every tax himself, and a president cannot personally enforce every law. In any country, power is distributed in 3 circles. There is the general population, the Selectorate, who have some say in choosing the leader, and finally, a much smaller group, the winning coalition. These are the essential supporters whose backing a leader needs to stay in office. A leader's primary concern is managing this inner circle. If these essential supporters are happy, the ruler stays in power. If they are ignored, the leader is replaced. This means that from the moment they take office, a leader's choices are shaped by the need to keep this specific coalition loyal. Public welfare only matters if it helps keep those supporters on their side. The most efficient way to stay in power is to keep your inner circle as small as possible. The fewer people you need to please, the more reward you can give to each one, making their loyalty much easier to buy. In 2013, North Korean leader Kim Jong Un applied this rule to his own family. He executed his uncle, Jang Song-thaek, who was then the second most powerful man in the country. By removing a powerful figure who could challenge him, Kim consolidated his grip. Replacing a potential rival with a smaller, more dependent group of officials ensured that the benefits of the regime stayed concentrated, and the loyalty of the remaining elite was much easier to buy. This illustrates why purges are so common in dictatorships. Brutality isn't a sign of madness. It's often a calculated method to keep a tiny group of supporters incredibly wealthy and perfectly loyal. To keep an inner circle happy, a leader needs money, lots of it. But where that money comes from changes how a ruler treats their people. In Equatorial Guinea, the money comes from oil. Since the 1990s, the nation's wealth has exploded, overseen by President Teodoro Obiang, who has held power for decades. Because oil can be extracted by foreign companies with very few local workers, the leader doesn't need his citizens to be productive. This creates a grim paradox. Equatorial Guinea is now statistically as wealthy as some European nations, yet most of its people live in extreme poverty. With the oil money flowing directly to the elite, the public's health and education have no impact on the government's bank account. Sober. When a ruler's treasury is filled by natural resources rather than citizen labor, the well-being of the population ceases to be a requirement for survival. The people are simply not part of the equation. This dynamic shifts entirely when a country lacks natural resources. Without oil or gold, a ruler's only source of wealth is the work of their own citizens. In this scenario, building roads, schools, and hospitals becomes a survival strategy. Democratic leaders invest in these things because an educated, healthy population earns more and pays more in taxes, which gives the leader the funds they need to stay in power. Democratic leaders still have to buy loyalty, but their inner circle is millions of people wide. They can't bribe everyone individually, so they buy the support of organized voting blocs by promising policies that benefit specific groups. Take farm subsidies. A leader can take a few dollars from millions of taxpayers, a cost so small most voters don't notice, and turn it into a massive concentrated reward for a specific group of agribusinesses who will then work to keep that leader in office. The hope of democracy isn't that it finds better people. It's that it creates a system where the most selfish thing a leader can do to stay in power is to actually improve the lives of their citizens. Of course, no single theory captures everything. Critics argue that this math ignores the power of ideas, culture, and the individual choices of leaders who genuinely want to do the right thing. Botswana is the best evidence that these rules aren't absolute. It is one of the most diamond-rich places on Earth, a resource that has fueled corruption and war in many other nations. But Botswana's early leaders chose to create transparent institutions and a national savings fund. They deliberately avoided the temptation to hoard the wealth, proving that strong leadership and good laws can override the pressure of the resource curse. While geography and resources create a strong pull toward corruption, intentional design can change how the money flows. You can force the system to work for the public if the institutions are strong enough. These same incentives play out in corporate boardrooms and university departments and local committees. In any organization, you have to ask, who does this leader actually need to keep happy to stay in their job? The path to a better world isn't waiting for a hero. It's about expanding the number of people a leader needs to please and demanding that the treasury be open for everyone to see. Understanding the mechanics of power doesn't make the world fair, but it does make it less mysterious, and that is the first step toward changing it.